and it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a quick one, and because this is my last moments in this studio are happening right this second. So let's get going. I'll roll the intro.
This is your #1 morning show.
Way the future.
Oh, it looks good on you, though.
Dan Benjamin.
That's your name, dude.
And a good day to you, sir.
War were declared. You ready?
Wait a minute now.
Let's go!
Yeah, I like it.
Now, from the barbecue capital of the world,
Look at his face.
It's radio, but on the internet.
it's Dan Benjamin Live!
Good morning. Come on in, everyone. And it is actually morning. You know what? It's not even 11 o'clock Central Time here in Austin, Texas, at our our headquarters for another few minutes. I'm Dan Benjamin, and you know what? You can follow me. I'm here on YouTube, youtube.com/Dan Benjamin, but pretty much everywhere that you want to go at Dan Benjamin is the place to find me. Twitter, sure. Instagram, that's where I want you. That's where I'm doing all the cool stuff and the fun stuff. So follow me there. And while you're here, you know what? Smash the like button. It matters. Even if you're already subscribed, even if you already have the alerts turned on, smash the like button. It really helps. We're talking about algorithms, okay? And you know what? We're declaring war against the algorithms. You must smash the like button. And while you're here, subscribe. And hit the bell and you'll get the notification. At the end of the month, I retweeted the guy, the founder of Periscope or one of those guys, tweeted out that he was going to be, that he was sad and that they're going to be shutting down Periscope at the end of the month. I'm trying to see if I can switch over and stream to like Twitter media stuff. So you'll still be able to maybe see that there. But if you haven't subscribed on YouTube and hit the bell, that's when you're going to know when I do the show live in the meantime. So last not least, patreon.com/Dan Benjamin. I want to just say, like, this isn't a hobby for me. There isn't another job that I do. This is how I make my living. So if you go to patreon.com/Dan Benjamin, you can see how much people are contributing for this show. I've seen a little bit of an increase recently, which is kind of wonderful. And it means that you guys are listening to my pleas to say, hey, support the show. But this is how I pay my bills. This is how I make a living. And hold on, time to check. Nope, there is still no pile of cash under there. I promise I will let you know when there is. Now, like I mentioned, the office well, it matters. The office is changing here. I will not be in this setup anymore. You'll still see the desk and other things might look kind of the same, but I will be in a different location. And that's part of why I'm wearing a t-shirt under a sport jacket. I don't know how I feel about that. It's some guys can pull it off. I don't know if I'm one of them. But I'm doing it today because I'm in a t-shirt because I'm moving stuff. And you know what? That's just what happened today. So let's jump in and we'll do some news because I do have quite a bit about it. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to start off today with the COVID segment.
I'm in need
We're just going to jump right into it. The WHO report says, and we kind of knew this, that the animals are a likely source of COVID. Oh, Adam's asking if I'll keep the fireside sticker. I don't know yet exactly what will be behind me. I have a plan. I have a piece of furniture that I might be putting back there. It might just be a bare wall at first. I don't know. You guys are going to see on Wednesday. And those of you who support me on Patreon, come on, Patreon, put the little, there it is. Those of you who support me there are going to see some behind the scenes stuff from this. You're going to see me setting up the new space and all of that. So if you care about behind the scenes stuff and inside baseball stuff, which we have a song for,
Inside baseball.
okay, then you're going to be able to see that stuff and
The theater of the mind.
follow it. And only you guys supporting me will be able to see it. So if you've ever wanted to see how I set everything up, this is a way to do it. Back to the news. The WHO report saying animals are likely source of COVID. We kind of knew that. I've told you guys about that, but check this out. When I saw this story, now this is a bat. Okay, they're holding a bat. In fact, it says what kind of bat it is. It is a look at this. It is a wrinkle-lipped, free-tailed bat. But look, doesn't this look like a baby Godzilla? when I saw this, it looks like Godzilla. Look, there's the, hold on. Stay here. Keep looking at that. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here I come. Okay. Calm down. So look at this picture, and then look. I mean, it's not a close-up shot of it, but doesn't it look? It's the same, right? It's the same. It just looks like they're just holding this toy, and cleaning this I think this is 1968 or 69 Godzilla. It looks like that's just what they're doing. Anyway, that's the main reason I wanted to show you this story, but also they're saying it's probably from animals. And there's this report, and the report has been delayed, and the AP News got a copy of it, and they're saying that it came from animals. The researchers listed 4 scenarios in order of likelihood from the emergence of the coronavirus named SARS-CoV-2. Topping the list was transmission from bats through another animal, which they said was likely to very likely. They evaluated direct spread from bats to humans as likely and said that spread through cold chain food products was possible, but not likely. They know that bats carry diseases, and so that's kind of what they're thinking. Oh, hey, Brian and Brianne in the chat room. So it says that highly similar viruses have been found in pangolins, which are another kind of mammal. But of course, we talked about minks and cats are susceptible to COVID-19. They could also be carriers. That's probably not how COVID got started, though. Okay. Now, do you remember we talked about the giant container ship that was blocking the Suez Canal? Well, guess what? They finally got it out of there. Here is a satellite view of it. Sorry for those of you who are, there we go, who are chilling out at home and listening only and not seeing it. But they got this thing out of there. The container ship was finally removed. And it says that what happened was the salvage teams came out and they were able to free it. They used a high tide, and I'm going to tell you more about the high tide in a minute, and what they're calling a flotilla of tugboats to pull the bow out of the sandy bank that it was wedged on, where you saw that front end loader trying to scrape the dirt away. And then it says that the tugboats were thrilled. They were blowing their horns and everything else, and it was just wonderful. And
me too.
Yeah.
I'm excited
so now it's
too.
out there. You don't have to worry about that anymore. But the reason, and I might have an article in here if you want to read the latest news, it's at danbenjamin.live, and didn't I say this is episode 71? Anyway, basically, we had a supermoon last night, and the supermoon caused the tides to rise even a little higher than usual, and that was just enough to free this boat. Pretty cool, right? So one of the things that's in the news is an article on CNN saying that who will be the first to play "The Tide Is High" by Blondie? Brian says, you know, if I could do that, I would do that. Why Biden's marijuana stance is 10 years behind the curve. Here's a picture of Biden, and you know what, Biden?
Come on, man.
Yeah, it is behind the curve. Basically, as I told you about earlier this month, 5 members of his administration were let go, at least in part, for admitting to past marijuana use, which is still legal under federal law. It's legal in Washington, D.C., where they were working, but they were let go. And listen to how different federal law on marijuana is versus public attitudes. Last year, a Gallup poll showed that 68% of America, thank you, America, 68% of Americans favored legalizing the drug for recreational use. That's not even medicinal, which is what I've always been wanting them to do because it can be so helpful to so many people. Okay, stop. But this is for legally just recreational use. Just recreational use. That's the highest ever recorded by Gallup. A NORC poll last year similarly discovered 67% favored marijuana legalization. Right? Okay. Biden, however, stop. We got bad news now. Biden, he has not said anything. He doesn't want it to remain illegal. He just wants to decriminalize it. It needs to be medically legal for people, regardless of how your thoughts are on recreational marijuana abuse or use, abuse, whatever. The main thing is there are many, many, many people who could medically benefit from it. And that's the most important thing. And I'll just read from this article. It's almost as if the president doesn't recognize the astounding increase in support for marijuana legalization over the past 2 decades. In 2010, marijuana legalization was the minority position. 46% of Americans were for it, 50% were against it. In 2000, 31 were for legalization. When Biden first became a senator in 73, only 16% favored legalization. And you heard those numbers now. Few other issues have seen such a dramatic shift in such a short period of time. Same-sex marriage. A lot of people will talk about that. That's the other one that has shifted quickly. In 2000, 34% were in favor of it in the Gallup polls. It's 44% support in 2010. And by 2020, 67%. Same as cannabis. Interesting. They allow one, they don't allow the other. Oh, very interesting. So we're going to see what happens with this. But meanwhile, who cares, right? Because in New York City, lawmakers have just reached an agreement to legalize recreational marijuana. It's going to allow sales to adults over 21 and set up a licensing process for the delivery of cannabis products. This is just happening everywhere, and it's going to continue to happen. And to have a president and a White House that's not only not in support of it, but penalizing their own employees because of it, it doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, I don't know. You said.
Okay, did you hear about PHP's Git server that was hacked to add backdoors to the PHP source code? Yeah, this was hacked yesterday. 2 malicious commits were pushed to the PHP source Git repository maintained by the PHP team on git.php.net. They maintain their own. It's not like it was on GitHub. GitHub was not compromised. It has nothing to do with GitHub. It's their own Git repo. The threat actors had signed off on these commits as if they were made by known PHP developers and maintainers, Rasmus Lerdorf and Nikita Popov. A little bit of trivia and a fun story here. Back in maybe 2000, I want to say, I was giving a talk at Linux Expo in New York City at the Jacob Javits Center. And mine was about this brand new thing. It's explaining how to build this stack that we used to be, probably still is, called LAMP, which stands for, I don't even remember what it stands for anymore. But it's basically this Linux stack where you have MySQL and PHP. Oh, it's Apache. So Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. This was the stack that you would use for delivering a PHP application. I knew it was locked away in there somewhere. I don't have a bell here. Oh, I do. That's for my memory actually working. And I was talking about this, and there was a break halfway through the course. And this guy comes up to me, and he's clearly from another country, had a very heavy accent. And he says, "Oh, I'm enjoying your class here." And I said, "Oh, thank you for that. What's your name?" And he says, "Oh, I'm Rasmus." And I'm like, he said his last name. I'm like, "Your name sounds familiar to me." He's like, "Well, I wrote PHP." And my jaw kind of dropped, and I was like,
Oh, it looks good
"Oh
on
my
you,
gosh, like really?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Why are you in my class? What could you possibly learn here?" He's like, "Yours was the only one that had PHP in the title." So this was back in the day before PHP was like the thing. But he was a really great guy, super humble, super cool. Anyway, these malicious commits, they updated it as quick as they could. They got it out of there as quick as they could. But that's the thing. Be careful what you use, and be careful if you use those bleeding edge updates. Little word to the wise. There have been some prototype iPad photos that have been leaked. Now, are they real? We don't know. But it seems like these are Apple prototype models of the first generation iPad with 2 ports for expanded docking options. Now, again, these are old, right? But it's kind of interesting if that's true that they had 2 ports, right? We're talking about those 30-pin connector ports in the original iPad. This is not a new iPad coming out. The photos are new. The leak is new. But this isn't going to be for one. But, it's like Apple to only really give you 1 port that does a thing like that, unless it's an expansion port like a USB port. It would be very weird to think that they would ever have 2 charging ports. I don't think we're going to ever see that. Boston Dynamics has unveiled a new robot that they call Stretch. It's designed to move boxes in warehouses. It can shift up to 8. I don't know why they're using the word shift instead of lift or move, but whatever. Shift up to 800 boxes an hour, which is comparable to a human being. That's about what a human being can do. Did you know that? Here's a picture of Shift. For those of you who are listening.
Theater of the mind.
It looks like a box, and on top of the box is a big robot arm that apparently can lift boxes. So it's not, I have to say, this is the least cool looking robot that Boston Dynamics has ever made. It's not cool at all. It's cool in what it can do, and it would be nice if it could do the work that people have to do that's kind of crappy. But basically, it's called Stretch. It's not modeled after a human or an animal. It doesn't walk. Instead, it's just practical. It has this base on the bottom, which has wheels under it. It has something that they're calling a perception mast, which I feel is a wonderful term that we should use in other contexts. It has cameras and other sensors and a huge robotic arm with 7 degrees of freedom. It has a suction pad array on the end that can grab and move boxes up to 50 pounds in weight. And it can move around, so it can understand the space. It can know where it is within a space. It can move around and unload stuff. It can just slide into place, sliding into your DMs and moving stuff around for you very simply. So we'll see what happens with that. So take a look. Sorry, guys at home listening only. This is my t-shirt today. This is one of my favorites. This is from Mediocrity. It's a fun shirt, right? They make a lot of really cool shirts. I'm going to show you this week's shirt. They have one artist every week, and they do 2 t-shirts. And here's this cool little slider. As you can see, this week's t-shirt is 2 t-shirts are pretty awesome. If you want to support me in the show, you get one shirt for $14. You get both for $21. And like I said, every week it's a different shirt. And, you can get one, you can get both. But if you decide to do it, the domain is Mediocrity. So instead of mediocrity, it's TEE. So MEDIOCRITEE.com. But go there and go to Mediocrity/Dan. And I'll get a tiny little kickback if you do that. And this is one of their shirts. I get all their shirts because I love them all. So go there and check it out and support the show in the process. And while you're there, don't forget to follow me. I'm at Dan Benjamin on all the social places. Like and subscribe here on YouTube. And, of course, support the show on Patreon. Buy me one of these. That's all I'm asking you for. $1 a month, $5 a month. You don't think that this show is worth that to you? The amount of entertainment, time, effort, energy I put into it, I think that it is worth it.
In the miserable annals of the earth, you will be duly enshrined.
All right, our next story. Paramount has revealed that there's a new Transformers movie in the works, and it's taking place in a separate universe from the earlier Transformers series. Now, I am very worried about this because the previous Transformer movies, the Transformers themselves didn't look the way that they used to look in the 80s cartoons. They didn't look like they used to look in the toys. My description was they looked like a whole bunch of paper clips held together by a couple of magnets. They didn't look cool. I'm sorry. The Transformers that we've seen from Michael Bay were not cool. Apparently, I'm in the minority because other people thought that they did look cool because the movies have made billions of dollars. And here I am in a little makeshift office talking into a microphone to a couple thousand people. So clearly, Michael Bay knows more what he's doing than Dan does here. But I thought they looked like crap. I'm sorry. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion. The robots look like crap. This is what the Transformers are supposed to look like. Look at this beautiful artwork. Apparently, the credit of this artwork is just Activision, so I don't know what that means, but I guess they own the rights to them. Why didn't they look like this? Right? Why didn't we get an Optimus Prime that looked like this when he was transformed instead of something like a whole bunch of paper clips held together? But basically, this is going to have a lineup of really, really great people in it. Okay. So Marco, I'm just reading you some of these names. Marco Ramirez, who is a showrunner of Marvel's The Defenders on Netflix, which was not a bad show. He's going to be writing the script. Angel Manuel Soto will be behind the camera. Further details of the movie remain scarce, but the new movie is not based in the same universe. So, and I thought Hasbro owned everything here, but I guess Activision owns the game rights to it, and then anyway, whatever. But Hasbro and Nickelodeon are making a new animated action comedy series. So Transformers is like waking up. And I feel like this is, again, another situation where we have a franchise that's proven itself. It proved itself with cartoons, and it proved itself with toys, and to some degree comics, and then movies. Bring it back, but do it right this time. Make the Transformers look the way that they are supposed to look, not like a whole bunch of paper clips held together by a magnet. And now, whenever you see the Michael Bay movies, you're going to say to yourself, Dan is right. These things look like a whole bunch of paper clips held together by magnets. Brian says he just ordered both t-shirts. Have an extra soda, Dan. Thank you. I appreciate your support. Borat has set a new Guinness World Record, this time for the longest film title ever to be nominated for an Oscar. The Oscar is actually up for 2 Oscars. Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Maria Bakalova, who, if you haven't seen this movie, even if you don't love Borat and that kind of stuff, this was actually a great movie. Hard to believe it got made the way it did. Amazing behind-the-scenes stories. But this actress, Maria Bakalova, absolutely stole this movie. It's a hilarious film, and I don't even like comedies because I'm dead inside. It appears that Borat 2's original and incredibly long title has helped the film secure the latest achievement. The Guinness World Record has officially announced that the film's full title, which is Borat Subsequent Moviefilm, Delivery of Prodigious Bribe to American Regime for Make Benefit Once Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. That's the name of the movie. It's the longest movie title ever to be nominated for an Academy Award. The previous film to hold the record was Those Magnificent Men and Their Flying Machines, or How I Flew from London to Paris in 25 Hours, 11 Minutes, which is from 1965 and was nominated for the Best Writing Story and Screenplay written directly for the screen. So, yeah, the previous title only had 85 characters. Borat's got 110, and I don't think that they were expecting that. Speaking of entertainment, bus drivers are bringing an adaptation of Alien to London's West End in Alien on stage. And so, as always, we have a little bit of music, the UK's national anthem, to play whenever we talk about something happening in the UK or London. Basically, this is an amateur production. It's called Alien on Stage. It's a group of British bus drivers. It's an amateur production, and they're bringing the movie Alien to a play. It's interesting. It says, this is a story about a unique crew of Dorset bus drivers whose amateur dramatics group decide to ditch doing another pantomime and try something different. Having never done anything like it before, they spent a year creating a serious adaptation of the sci-fi horror film Alien, finding ingenious solutions to pay homage to the original film. The show is a crushing flop, but fate gives them a second chance to find their audience. So if there's anybody out there who has seen this or can tell me anything about it, I must know about it. And while you're looking at this stuff, consider watching a really cool movie. I don't have a link for it, I apologize, but it's called Memory, M-E-M-O-R-Y, Memory. And it's basically behind the scenes of how the original Alien movie was made. It's great. If you can find it, watch it. This is something I don't usually do, but I'm actually linking to a product review or a series of product reviews on Wired Magazine that are talking about Soundbars, because I'm back in the market for a soundbar, and they've updated this just this month, talking about all different kinds of soundbars at different levels of pricing. I have a soundbar now. It's a Sonos soundbar, and it's fine, but I now have need for another one. And they say here that the best value is the Vizio 2.1 soundbar and sub, which is here in this picture. Sorry, those of you watching at home. Listening at home who can't see it, but they basically go through and they tell you a whole series of recommendations. That one comes in at only $170. You want to spend more and get the best audio for under $500. There's a Vizio TV sound system with Dolby Atmos. Is that how I'm supposed to say that? And they don't really talk about the Sonos one. I like Sonos, and I have the Sonos one, and it's cool, but anyway, read these reviews. They do talk about the smartest soundbar being the Sonos Arc, and they do still kind of recommend it, but it's very expensive, and I didn't spend this on mine. So I think like $800 is a lot for a soundbar, unless you're like not a podcaster. I don't know. It's time to talk about 2 watches, neither of which I can afford, both of which I think are pretty awesome. The first one is from Bamford, London. that has Popeye on it. So I'm going to try and show you some of these pictures. Okay, don't you love pop-ups? I just want to say, I love pop-ups. Whenever I can see a pop-up, there it is. That's the picture I wanted to show you. Popeye the Sailor inside of a watch. Now, before you get too excited about this, because, I mean, isn't this what everybody's been waiting for in 2021? Is like, bring back Popeye, man. Where's Popeye been? I missed him. Bring him back. Isn't that what we've all been saying during the pandemic? Bring back Popeye. Well, it's going to be a 40 millimeter matte black finish stainless steel case, a black and blue inner rotating bezel with a 24-hour scale. The watch is powered by a 4 Hz Swiss-made automatic Sellita SW330-2 movement, which has a 42-hour power reserve. It's great movement. But it says the watch is supplied on a black Cordura strap and is presented in a spinach tin. Of course, spinach being the source of Popeye's strength. You can get different stickers, but the thing that's weird is only 100 are being made, and it's $2,000. Okay, but here we go with something even more rare. I think, Brianne, didn't you send me this one? Take a look at this. This thing is actually pretty cool. I'm going to describe this to y'all.
Theater of the mind.
This is the Death Star inside of a watch. This is Cross Studio working with Lucasfilm. It comes in a Kyber crystal container, which they're describing as a functional art piece. It says more than 700 parts were necessary to produce each container, sealed to half the original film dimensions of 3.94 feet long. Fully hand-assembled and hand-painted, the containers embody the iconic saga story down to the smallest detail. And then they open up, and inside are these cool capsules. And they contain the Death Star tourbillon watch, 2 additional straps, and the original Kyber crystal movie prop. And here's another shot of it. And it is a Death Star. It's a skeleton of the Death Star, if you're just listening at home. This thing is kind of amazing, right? The watch has 281 components. The digital display orbits 360 degrees around it. Here's another shot of it. This thing is just, even if you don't like Star Wars, you got to like this thing. It's really, really cool. It says each realization of a Death Star-shaped tourbillon case required 260,328 lines of code, leading to 483 operations of high technology machines. I'm not even sure what that is. Here's a side view of it. You can see how this dome. Why am I talking so much about this watch? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's like millions of dollars. It actually costs $150,000. $150,000. Too much. Much too much. Godzilla vs. Kong has gotten some early praise. Yeah, we don't get to see it here, but here's some still images from it. If this stupid, look at this. You can't even read the article because of this. Mashable. Okay, so here's Godzilla. It says critics got an early look at 2021's epic monster bash, Godzilla vs. Kong, ahead of its March 31 premiere in theaters and HBO Max here. The responses to the film's cast and plot varied. Audiences agreed that the promised action sequences deliver. This is a monster movie first and foremost, and it's not backing down from that label. And then the rest of the article, as is typical with everything on Mashable, is just tweet after tweet after tweet of people you've never heard of talking about it. But I know I want to see this movie. If any of y'all have seen this movie, tell me if it's good. I don't want to get it spoiled, so I feel like I have to watch it as soon as possible. You know who I want to win? Big Godzilla fan. If you could see this shelf over there, and maybe the new set will have some of these things in the shelf. Really? I don't know. But if you support me on Patreon at patreon.com/DanBenjamin, you will be the first to see the new set. And I don't know if it's going to be ready by Wednesday or not. I don't know if there's going to be a show on Wednesday because I might still be setting it up. So I don't know. But I have a little quote that I want to leave you with today. This is a quote by Henny Youngman, famous comedian, lived from 1906 to 1998. And here's a couple quotes from him to put a little button on your day. He says, "When I read about the evils of drinking, I gave up reading." That's good, right? That's good. My grandmother's over 80 and still doesn't need glasses. Drinks right out of the bottle. Psh. Okay, I told the doctor I broke my leg in 2 places. He told me to quit going to those places. And the last one, I once wanted to become an atheist, but I gave up. They have no holidays. All right, that's all I got for you today. I will be back maybe probably Wednesday. If not, definitely by Friday. But hopefully Wednesday. Cross your fingers and be sure to support me. Follow me everywhere else so that you can see the inside stuff. I promise it'll be worth your time. And that's all I got for you today. Have a good one.